Good evening, everybody. Happy New Year. Welcome back to Rivalz Race Chat, our first sit down of 2021. And welcome, Adam. Are you like me where it takes like the first month where you still write 2020 on anything you have to write down official?
Yeah. I'm a pretty bad creature of habit. So, but really, what do you date anymore? And I don't write that much
Yeah,
anymore. We have to put a date on it. But in my old days, when in school and things like that, yeah, it took me a while to learn new tricks.
it's funny you say that because you're in sales and I was in sales for a long time, and God, I hated being in sales. Racetrack sales are a lot better than what I had to do, but I remember the one time I asked my sales manager, "Do you know what date it was?" And she goes, "Oh, such and such. Obviously, you haven't signed any contracts lately." And I was like, "Oh, burn. That's terrible." So, you usually ask the right people. But a lot's gone on. Adam, we kind of recharged our batteries, got things going, gave Spencer a couple weeks off. And I had a good time during the break. How was your holidays?
They were relaxing, Clint. It was good. Spent a lot of family time, stayed close to home. Didn't go to the Caribbean. I did not spend any time at St. Bart's, but I did post a great picture on Facebook about it.
Is this the half boob shirt that we're talking about from back in the day?
No, I posted a picture of Premier Doug Ford. Say my finance minister went to St. Bart's, and all I got was this effing T-shirt.
Yeah, I
See, you
often
need to
think,
spend more time on my.
you know what? I see everything you post, but you post a million things between last time and now, so it could have been anything. And I don't know how Doug Ford's picture with his situation had much to do with yours, but I didn't read the context. Anyways, we got lots of racing stuff going on, Adam. First off, to kick off the new year, feel free to comment, everybody. This is a full participation show. We want to know what you want to hear, who you want us to talk to. And that brings us to the kind of one and two topics are rolled together there. What's on your mind, and who do you think we should get in 2021? We have a lot of access to the racing world. Who would you like to see us get? And as I watched some of the other programs, I thought, well, we really got to go out and get some more guests, Adam. So we want to know who the viewers would like to see us get. Spencer, if you get any suggestions, feel free to throw them up on the screen, and we'll discuss them throughout the night. And any topics you want to talk about or anything that's fresh on your mind, we'd like to hear from you. So, shall we jump into things right away? Oh, also want to mention Terry Vince will be with us later on the program. He's the new owner of Humberstone Speedway, and he's going to join us out and talk not so much about the schedule, but we had Terry on the first week when the news broke, and he's been settled into the role a bit more. And he's working on a new engine sealing program for late models, 358 modifieds, and Thunderstock. So we'd like to talk about that on the dirt side. He's also decided not to be dirt sanctioned, and we'll discuss that decision as well with Terry here in about 30 minutes when he joins us at the bottom of the hour. Shop safety, Adam. So this is one thing that came up first off today, and I know we've discussed this many, many times. I'm going to pull it up here on my phone so I can read it clearly. But Spencer, throw up that screenshot we got from Scott Wiley, and it was shared by Erica Bicknell today, and it says, PSA to all my fabricator friends and racers who do some fabricating yourself. Yesterday, I wiped down some metal to get rid of film on it, to weld it as I've done 10,000 times before. I then started to weld, passing out for a minute, and then couldn't breathe and was coughing, and my chest burned. What I didn't know was the brake clean I used this time, which I don't normally use, had the chemical tetrachloroethylene in it, which is a chlorinated brake cleaner. When it's exposed to extreme heat or UV rays, it turns into phosgene gas. This is extremely lethal and could kill you at 5 parts per million. I was in hospital all day on oxygen, and my carbon dioxide levels were very high. I'm okay now, but need to keep an eye on things for a couple of days. Although this is embarrassing to put on here, as it was such a stupid mistake, I thought I should share this, as brake cleaner is such a commonly used chemical in the racing world, and such a stupid thing could have killed me, and I would hate to see that happen to someone else. So throw up a couple pictures of Scott there, Spencer. There's Scott, and we appreciate the note, Scott. We obviously hope you're all right. Quick recovery. He's out of, I think, Hamburg, New York, and racing with the paper modified. Gorgeous car.
Yeah. Western New York family. His family runs deep at places like Holland Speedway. Scott's a good dude. And he spends a lot of time north of the border, at least he did for a few years, working on race cars up here and driving race cars up here, Clint.
There's a lot of time when we prepped throughout the day, and then somehow these stories just came in. That came in about 10 minutes before we went on the air, and felt it was important to share it today. A couple of the other guys who are regulars around here, Kyle Rothwell, he jumped in and said, they could have easily had some problems in the past too. So you just really got to be careful. And, although we know being at the track is dangerous, being in the pits and the garage is sometimes more dangerous. And, a lot of fatalities and bad accidents happen at the shop. So please be careful while you're out there, build safe, work safe, and, watch out for one another. And this is a great way, as Scott brings up a great point. It's embarrassing. Some guys would just sweep it on the rug and not want to tell, but, maybe you could save someone else the heartache. And I think it's great that we can open up and be a family and talk about these situations. So all the best to the Wileys and Scott in particular. Hopefully you're feeling better shortly. So that was one thing we wanted to discuss. We can talk about the new partners at Sable Speedway, Adam. So you are more in touch with that side because you reached out to Paul Gressel tonight. Why don't you take it over and you tell the story of what's going on at Sable, what we know so far anyways.
Well, what we know so far is that Jeff Cassidy and his family reached out and wanted to get involved with Sable Speedway. And Paul Gressel, of course, the Speedway is not his primary source of income. Paul's got the Sable Falls Tent and Trailer Park, other interests on the go. So they're working through the details of that. But Jeff Cassidy has been around racing for a long, long time. I know he and his wife love the area up at Sable. So I chatted with Jeff earlier. He didn't really want to come on the show tonight. He said, they've got a lot of things to work out and a lot of planning to do, but he looks forward to coming on and talking to us when the time comes. But he says he's really excited. And a little later on in life, he says they'd love to retire up in the Sable area. So he's looking at it as a long-term plan, a long-term partnership with Paul Gressel. Joe Chisholm is going to be kept on as a general manager type role up there. So I think you can look forward to some fresh. You know what it's like when someone new comes along to a situation that was already pretty good. In Sable Speedway, we were up there this year. Racers just love racing up there. So hopefully the enthusiasm that Jeff Cassidy brings to the table will help reinvigorate a racetrack that everybody loves going to.
Yeah, if you hadn't seen the video we did from the APC race up there, it's on the channel here. You can find it. I thought Sable was a beautiful track. Anytime I've been there, it's gorgeous. Great sight lines. The grandstands are beautiful. Nice concrete. I mean, it's a nice spot, and definitely has a lot of potential there. They've had some issues with the town a bit, but I think they've got that back together where the town realizes the racers can be a good, a good investment. I mean, I was up there for a whole week, stayed there, experienced the area. You've got some family history up there, but I know you went up for about 4 or 5 days too. So, just from our crew alone, we brought a lot of extra money to a place we wouldn't normally go if it wasn't for the racetrack. So, I think Sable has a great future ahead of it. Joe Chisholm's been around. He managed, and I think didn't he own the place at one point over the years? So
he did. Yeah,
they've got a lot of great people involved there. We wish them the best. There's, of course, Spencer on the ball, and there's a look at Sable. Some of the views we had there, Adam, it's just beautiful, picturesque with the golf course right behind it. And if you get a chance, make sure you check it out, Sable Speedway. And we wish them all the best. I'm sure we'll talk to Paul and Cassidy's before too long here. Maybe we can get Joe on next week to discuss what's going on there. But good to see that happen. Good to see a lot of interest go into these places. And, it's another one where a bit of an ownership shuffle, but I think it's strong for the sport when you got new people coming in. And it also shows the sport can still go in the right direction when you got everybody jumping in to make investments in a sport that sometimes looks like it may be in trouble from the outside. But really, I think we're probably still on the upswing where we can be. If we didn't have this virus, we'd be a lot stronger, obviously. But, we're definitely heading in the right direction.
Yep, I agree.
Let's move on to a bit of Christmas cheer. I want to send a shout out to one of the artists in the area. And if you're watching this program, you've probably seen some of his artwork around. And I got to meet Rob Taylor over the holidays. Adam, Mikey Kretsch was my brother's sprint car driver. And for years, we've gotten him a gift certificate for Canadian Tire or something like that to buy tools. And, Christine finally said, I'm not getting your brother a gift certificate. Get him something cool. So I reached out to actually Ryan Hunsinger because I knew he painted the patina. Well, Rob painted the patina on Ryan's car. So throw up a couple of those pictures, Spencer. I don't know if you want to start with any of the picture. We'll just tell the story. But Rob did these pictures. So this is one Clint Nichols came out with on Christmas Day. He had this one done of his dad Murray's car. And I mean, that picture obviously doesn't do it justice. I took a picture of his Facebook picture and gave it. But the artwork is unbelievable here that this Rob Taylor does. Show us a couple more, Spencer. This was a Teddy Renshaw car that our friend Tony Spiteri owns now. So we got this one done for Tony. Just awesome. There's the picture I got done for my brother. He just did it off of a picture I sent him. And these are hand-drawn, hand-painted pictures that are unbelievable. Rob Cars was 150 Canadian to get these done. And so if anybody's looking for work or a gift for somebody in your deal, and, you know, here's where I'm probably going to put my foot in my mouth, but I got my dad one for Christmas too, and it's in the mail. And I know he didn't get it yet, but I have to show it to you because it's super cool. And, of course, today was the one day out of all the Madam that I sent.
Uh-oh. I stopped hearing Clint. All right, so I was just getting verification from Spencer that we have indeed lost Clint's audio. So I'm going to fill in for a few minutes while we wait for Clint to come back. And it was a hard stop. It was talking, then all of a sudden nothing. So it's just going to be me and Decker now hosting the show, but he's kind of busy looking for squirrels in the front yard. But those were beautiful paintings. And hopefully Clinton, when he comes back, we're going to have to get him to share the information on where people can reach out and get those paintings done, because they are really, I love unique stuff like that, and that definitely is unique. So I don't want to go through too many things that are on the rundown here, because all of them require Clinton's support for. So he's working in the background trying to get his sound back up, as I can see. Thanks for people stopping in and wishing us a happy new year. Great to see everybody out here. I want to go back to some of the comments. So Stephen Petty, the press release regarding the engine sealing program at Humberstone is now on the Humberstone Speedway Facebook page. So Humberstone Speedway Facebook page, that'll give you an idea of the engine sealing program that's in place. And Clinton, welcome back.
Thanks, man. I don't know what's going on. We've I'm hardwired in with my internet. It's 2 shows in a row, so we're going to have to take some drastic measures. Where was I? Anyway, Spencer, I just want to get the picture of Gary's car out there. So I only have one picture of my dad's late model from back in the day, and I sent it to Rob. I said, it's the only photo I've ever seen of this car. Can you do me something up? So show it, Spencer, if you can. So amazing work. You know, there's the only picture I've ever had of my dad's car, and he just drew it up. It's so cool. And in real life, it does it justice. So if you're looking to get in touch with Rob or need a gift for that racer in your life, show a couple more, Spencer. I think I sent you the Jack Johnson picture too. They did. That'd be the the orange 12 vintage modified car. And that'll do it for that. And this picture, Adam, I'm a Jack Johnson fan. As I know you have mad respect for Jumpin' Jack too. This car picture, when you see it in real life, is absolutely unbelievable. It's striking with the reflection, but good on you, Rob. All the best. It's awesome to show off some of the artwork and some of the fringe areas we have in the business here, Adam.
Amazing craftsmanship. And yeah, that picture of Jumpin' Jack Johnson, I mean, that was an era where the modifieds looked like modifieds. They were awesome. So I think it's really, really cool. Oh man, those are sexy looking race cars.
I really love that car. I that's the golden era for me right there. While we're talking modified, Spencer, can you throw up Greg's new T-shirt? I sent it over today. Greg at dirttracknation.shop, and I've got my Dirt Track Nation hat on. Dirttracknation.shop is our buddy Greg's website. This is a new shirt he released today. Loud, proud, and dirty, Dirt Track Nation. Nothing rocks like big blocks. And I think, Greg, you better get your new printing press fired up because you're going to be selling a lot of them. He also threw out a late model shirt today. I didn't see the sprint car one to make the trifecta, but the late model was sliding sideways. And, send it sideways. Loud, proud, and dirty. So if you're looking for either of those shirts, get a hold of our buddy Greg Callan at dirttracknation.shop, and you can pick up all that stuff online. They've got a new promotion out now. Buy 3 shirts, shipping is free. Check out the promo code, buy 3, shipping free. I think it's something like that. And don't quote me on it, but it'll be right there on the website. And proud of our buddy Greg and what he's got going on. I think Greg is going to be busy with this Image Factor shirt business this year. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, Greg's work is always amazing. I mean, don't tell him I said that because I hate for him to think that I have respect for his talents, but his work is fantastic.
Hey, quick question about you. So we've seen you hanging around John Carly's shop because Daddy's money has got to get that going. Now, they were sharing pictures of you in the car, but I noticed there wasn't any seat in that car. So you had an extra big cockpit to fit in. But the one question comes in, Adam, are you going to get back behind the wheel?
Not this year. No. I would love to get back behind the wheel of a car and get out on the track. I'm not too worried about there not being a seat in the car. The fact that there wasn't a seat in the car made it appealing for me to attempt to climb into it. I do have to get in through the roof because there's no damn way I'm fitting in through the driver's window of the thing, but it felt really comfortable in there, Clint. It
With no seat
felt right at
in
home.
bare metal.
The funny thing is, we have a Kirky seat on our iRacing rig that I fit into perfectly. That seat will fit right in that opening.
Oh, there we go. Look at Spencer's even got the picture. You look pretty happy there, bud. You just need a slice of pizza and you'd be set up.
As I say, I haven't been able to slide into a race car in forever because I can't fit through the windows of the darn thing. So one driver at least, there might be more in those vintage modifieds, created a roof flap to get in and out of the car. So knowing that you can get in and out through the top of the car, I thought I'm going to slide down in there and just see if the logistics work. And they do. I mean, look at how when I raced, my helmet was nearly touching the roll cage. And that deal here, I mean, there's 6-8 inches between the bottom and the roll cage. And even if you mount the seat, it's still going to be right on the floor. So it wouldn't come up that far. Mike Westwood builds these things so you can sit low.
You look like you're on a Sunday drive there. Just chilling with the
I
wind
was.
in your hair.
Now, I sent...
Go ahead.
In the chat, Spencer, I sent a comment that Stephen Kovacs put up, and I really want to show it because, Clint, I'm a little bit sick when it comes to stuff like this. I love criticism. I love it when people will say, hey, have you thought about doing this? Because it helps us get better. And I really like the way Stephen delivered this message because he did it by complimenting us. Hey, I think he complimented us. I'd have to see the message again. But yeah, go ahead and throw it up. I know it'll be small, but we'll read it. I'll read it through, Clinton, because it's valuable information. Hi, I enjoy watching all the G-Force races online. Was showing my dad how good a job you guys do. Anyways, we watched a mini stock race and noticed that you guys never once announced the make of the cars. As longtime fans, it'd be nice to hear the car makes announced as the race occasionally. In the race, obviously some were easily identified, but well over half were a mystery. Good job in any event. And Clint, stuff like that, I would not think of on my own because I don't have any affinity for the cars that race. Like, you show me an old Monte Carlo and I'm going to get excited. You show even older cars like the Oscar Hot Rods, I'm all in. But there's a whole generation of people that want to know, is that a Nissan 240? Is that a Ford Mustang? And I love it when people make those comments because certainly we'll address it.
Yeah, I think it comes down to if you've been watching racing a long time, our style of announcing is probably maybe not your cup of tea on some nights. And I think maybe it's because we tend to act a lot more like fans in the stands as a group, just sitting there elbowing each other and be like, hey, did you see what happened out there? Oh, my goodness. And I think that's kind of the way you, Greg, and I operate. I think back in the day, and I don't know how old Steven is, and we a lot of this sport grew up on. All the announcer had to talk were the names, hometowns, make of the car, those types of things. So we have so much to talk about now, and we do it in a different way that I think sometimes a lot of those details can get lost. I, for one, am bad at it because I don't take an absolute ton of notes. I kind of just shoot off the hip and have fun with what's going on. And, I look at people like, Stephen Petty, for example, Fran, Timmy Baltz, Shane Andrews, some of the best guys in the business. They take copious amounts of notes, and I've just my joke with Fran for years was I don't do paper. If we can't just talk about it and have fun with what we see, then I'm not sure. But then for me, I've always had a guy like you or Greg or Eric Thomas or somebody to bounce off of who held down the fort. So
Well, Tommy
your thoughts?
Gooch.
Yeah, Tommy Gooch for sure. And these guys had all the stats and all the info. So, but yeah, I think it's a great point. I think when we get this criticism, we definitely will try and fill those gaps for you. And if there's anything we say it on this program too, if there's anything you want to hear or anything we could do better, we want to do it for you and we want to be the best. So if you think we're doing something wrong, let us know.
Yeah, we'll get there. And on that note, you're right. I'm not big on stats either. I mean, you take someone like Rich Fleck. He's an encyclopedia. I'm more towards the emotion side of the sport. I'll tell you who looks to me like they're angry because I think that's where the action's going to come from. But you do need that. Like people do like stats and information, and that is probably admittedly my weakness.
Yeah, I'd admit the same. I think a lot of times, someone would come out and say, "Oh, that was a 13.4 lap." Well, I don't know that. I mean, I couldn't tell the difference between a 13.4, a 13.0. I know there were 6 cars in a bunch all going for that spot in turn 1 that lap. So, that's where it comes down to for me. And like you said, is the emotion. I've often said too, give me 24 shopping carts and we're going to have a good race. They don't always need to be about speed. That was a dig we took when the Outlaws came to Oshweekend and the track would gloss right over. We'd have a few fans upset that the speeds were down. They're down a half a second. And I'm like, yes, but did you see there were 300 slide jobs in a 10-lap heat race? What's the problem? I don't get it. So, those are some of the things where sometimes you laugh, sometimes you think, hey, man, we can do a better job. I think, sometimes too with the Thunderstocks where they're all Camaros and a couple Monte Carlos, we kind of take for granted. We need to tell you what they are when we go back to the mini stocks and there's 13 different models out there because we only saw 2 in the last round. So that's one part of it too. Let's talk about G-Force Holiday Marathons. We did get some questions and comments. Hopefully everybody enjoyed those. Spencer did a great job putting them together. We showed all the Operation Green Flag in one run on Christmas Eve into Christmas Day. And then New Year's Day, we did a run of APC races, which were awesome to see all the progress we made, I think, Adam. It's almost like when we hear us announce from back in the day now, you're like, oh man, I can't stand to listen to myself. And that's how I felt about last June and July races, because by September we were really hitting on all cylinders, and it was great to see our team improve over the course of both of those marathons, which can both be found on the channel. What were your thoughts about the marathons? I know you spent some time with the Mornos watching the APC one on New Year's Day.
You don't want to hear my opinion on this. I think it's awesome that it's awesome that we showed them, and I was really proud when we stopped and visited with the Mornos with masks on, and my son Connor is dating Dana Morneau, so they'd been spending time together, so we're kind of in each other's expanded bubbles. So it was very humbling to see them watching the marathon, but Clint, I did not enjoy my voice coming out of the speakers of the TV, especially for as long as it did. I'm like, my goodness, how can you possibly listen to that jerk for that long? But they did, and I appreciate it.
I think it's very polarizing on those events when you watch them back, because you see all the delays and they seem to be, multiplied over and over. And I remember early on in the night, you said, man, did we cut the yellows and the delays out? And I said, no, I think we just strung them all together. And you're like, oh man, this is going to be a long night. But that just goes to show you, we have some improvements to make, and we don't run the operations. We're fortunately for the APC, just the broadcast crew, but we know they're taking steps to put together a better program. And I'm excited about what 2021 holds for our G4 crew. All the tracks have asked us to come back. I know Terry Vince, who we're expected to come on the show in a little while here, he already asked about getting all the events on G-Force Lite. Spoke to Merrittville about it. I'm sure Brighton's going to want to do it. Oscar's talking about some G-Force Lite events. So we're going to be busy that, plus a full slate of live events again. So we're excited to be coming back in 2021. With COVID or without COVID, G-Force is still going to be strong and providing some great racing action to the fans at home who can't make it out week to week. We're still waiting for Terry Vince. He did say he would join us a little around 8:30 or shortly after, so he's not late. We're just still waiting for him to show up. Let's talk about a couple other things, Adam. The big shows are going to invade Bristol this year. It came out now. We talked about the trucks and NASCAR going back to Bristol under dirt. We talked about the gaps in the schedule. So it didn't quite all end up on the same week. They've got, a bunch of support divisions the weekend before the NASCAR race, and then late models and sprint cars and big blocks all going to Bristol after the NASCAR series. We got wind that they may keep the dirt on for a month or so, and looks like that's exactly what they're going to do. Borders don't look like they'll be open yet for us, though, Adam, and that's going to be very painful for a lot of the Canadian fans who would love to get down to Bristol and watch all this happen. Your thoughts on that? We showed it on one of our last shows with the Outlaws going back to Bristol where they were. So first off, there it is on the show, April 8th to the 10th. Sorry, World of Outlaw late models and for the Bristol Brash, along with the dirt car UMP style modifieds, and then a couple weeks later, April 22nd to the 24th, it will be the World of Outlaw sprint cars with the big block modifieds. What a show those are going to be, Adam. Your thoughts?
I think it'll be great. I wish I could be that cool hardcore racer that says, no, these should be at traditional dirt tracks. It's pretty cool to send these divisions to the last great Coliseum, Bristol Motor Speedway, because I think truthfully, I told you the dog's looking at squirrels outside, and I think he found one. I think dirt cars will almost always put on a better race. I don't know how to say this properly. I enjoy both, but the way Bristol has become for NASCAR and that type racing, I haven't been really thrilled for the last number of years with how it races, but I think with dirt, it's going to be phenomenal. Do you know what I mean? Like the way they've done with the PJ, whatever the hell they put on the racetrack. They kept trying to mess. They kept trying to mess with the product, and I miss the old days where you race around the bottom and try to root someone out of the way when you need to if you're not quite fast enough, and they just haven't gotten back to that. But I think the way the dirt is, it's going to be just one hell of a show.
Yeah, I got to go there in April of 2019 to Bristol, and when you look at that banking from the pits, you just think about how great of a show it's going to be when they put dirt on that. It's going to be high banked. It's going to be awesome. I personally think dirt has helped NASCAR quite a bit because, as our friends who we were associated with Pinty's had mentioned, as soon as they announced the dirt race, their Bristol season ticket packages went up. So almost everybody who bought tickets to that dirt weekend bought season tickets, and Bristol right away were super happy with the decision to go dirt. Not sure how happy they'll be after a month of trying to clean it out of everybody's ears up there. That was the other thing, around here, everybody said, oh, Jukasa, they should put dirt on Jukasa and do a one-off show. Are you kidding me? It's the nicest place around, and you think they're going to take 20 years to get all that dirt out of there. So, yeah, I don't know. Super excited about Bristol, though. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we can get down there and at least send one of our correspondents. If not, go down for the weekend. As I know Connor was mentioned to you, it'd be a heck of a good family weekend to get down there.
I would love to be down there. Would love to be down there. It doesn't look like it's going to happen, Clinton, but I'm sure there'll be great coverage. And we'll throw some love around. Our friends at Dirt Vision will have the coverage, and we'll be able to watch it that way. When it comes to a lot of the racing, we've had people comment on why is there so much racing going on in Florida this winter. I don't know the answer to that. I guess because they can, but between Flow Racing and Dirt Vision and drawing a blank, DTD TV, our good friends at Dirt Track Digest. The nice thing is we do get to take it in. It costs a little bit of money, but folks, throw your support into the industry, and these guys are working hard and spending some money to let us watch these shows.
For sure. Moving on, let's talk about Tony Stewart's new series, Adam, the SRX series that's come out. They put out a sizzle reel the other day, and you and I had some discussion on it. Roll that now, Spencer, if you can. I don't think he was ready for that.
No, it would seem he wasn't. I'm thinking, Clint.
Speedway. My concern, Adam, is, with the limited fields they're going to have, is it going to be as much of a superstar draw? Is Willie T. Ribs on dirt going to draw what they need for this series? I'd like to see them expand the talent pool a little bit. I love the concept of the cars and the tracks and going to dirt and being live on Saturday. That's what this sport needs. My only dig, I think, on paper, because it could be amazing, is the talent pool they've got. What are your thoughts on what we saw?
I was impressed with the production of it. We don't know enough, Clinton. We don't know enough about, is it competition or is it sports entertainment? And I don't care which it is, but I don't want to watch sports entertainment under the guise of it being competition, right? Like, I don't go to WrestleMania thinking that things are not predetermined. I still appreciate what they do. And if you tell me it's sports entertainment, fine. I'll still choose whether I want to go and watch or not and take in the product. Or if you tell me, no, this is pure competition, these drivers are here to win, okay, so be it. Let's watch some racing and see how entertaining it is. Does that make sense to you? So I know they're trying to build something different. Before I fall in love with it or throw shade at it, I want to know what it is they're proposing. There was one name on that list I didn't know of. Who was it? Ernie something.
I'm not sure. We have to
and
the list again.
Yeah, like, I recognized most of the names on there. Like, who's this one?
I'm just trying to get Terry Vince here. Ernie Francis Jr. You have to Google that one. Maybe we don't know as much as we think we know.
I'm about to. So you work on what you're working on. Ernie Francis Jr. is an American sports car racing and stock car racing driver. He last competed part-time in the NASCAR K&N Pro Series East, driving the number 42 Toyota for Rev Racing.
Okay, there you go. So, I think we would have liked to have seen them expand the pool. Like, why aren't we seeing like some Luke Soul off-road drivers? I think the iRock series had it all. If there was ever a downfall, it was mostly super speedways, which gave an advantage to the Dale Earnhardt, Bill Elliott, that type of driver. This is a lot more equalizing. The cars are going to be cool. I can't wait to see it, but hopefully, they can make a show out of what they're trying to do. But we've seen it before, Adam. Look at when I went to do the drag racing event, the Nitro Nationals there at Toronto Motorsport Park with Rev TV. I was stunned at the crowd. And what you realize, it was just match racing. They had four top fuel guys and 4 nitro funny cars, and they did 3 passes against each other. Nobody really won. It was just an exhibition. And for me, being a promoter, I was dumbfounded. I'm like, they just did an exhibition. There was no real competition.
Connie Kalita and Cha-Cha Muldowney made maybe millions of dollars, many, many, many thousands of dollars, touring the country doing just that, having match races. And that's that's my point between sports entertainment and competition. People loved being there to see it. They knew what they were going to see. They saw it. Maybe it's going to be the next best thing.
No, that got me brainstorming. If we brought in Sammy Swindell and Steve Kinzer back to Wash Weekend for a match race, could we put something together there? Could you get, Brett Hearn to face off against, I don't even know who we would say, from back in the day, to go at it one last time? These are all the types of ideas we came back with as we're driving home, thinking, what could we do on dirt? That would be a sellout exhibition. And, never really got together, but
I'll tell you, the race that was put on, and the late, great Bob Slack brought the whole Allison family to Cayuga Speedway back in, I think it was the late 80s, maybe the early 90s, and ran them in, I think, street stock type cars. But I mean, all of the Allisons were there, put on a hell of an exhibition show.
I mean, definitely can be done. And, I'm trying to think about us crusty guys. What would we pay to go see? As we see Terry Vince getting close to joining us here, he's just logging in. We'll sit down and talk to him in just a moment, and we'll get ready to go. If we're ready with Terry, bring him on, Spencer, and we'll get talking to him. So this is Terry Vince. Terry is the new owner of Humberstone Speedway, also an engine builder with ERD and CSR engines, if I've got it correct. Terry, correct me if I'm wrong.
That's right.
Welcome to the program.
That's right. Happy New Year, guys.
Thanks, Terry.
Yeah, same to you.
You've been one of the most active speedways so far, Terry. I think you've got 3 press releases out in the first 3 days of the year, which is great to see. You're eager and moving forward. I know you had a lot of questions. Last time you were on the program here was about 2 days after you took over, so we appreciate you jumping on to talk to us. Tonight, we mainly want to talk about the engine seal program, along with your decision not to go with Dirt Motorsports. And, so maybe talk about that from the modified perspective. Your thoughts on not going into dirt, and then how the engine seal programs are going to work for the 3 divisions.
Okay, sure. So I think that I made the decision with Dirt Motorsport strictly on the basis that we're not sure what's going to happen with the COVID-19 earlier in the spring. And I think that with the border being closed, I'm really not sure if that's the right decision for me to make. And this is why I decided to go without it. I don't anticipate the boarding opening maybe until, I don't know, we'll be lucky, in my opinion, if it's open by midsummer. So I thought running without dirt enabled me to run alcohol in our current spec platform to try to reduce the cost of our racers and still run under the dirt umbrella. So we're still using Hoosier tires. We're still using 650 carburetors and dirt rules with a few exceptions, and try to adjust the parity between all different combinations just strictly with weight. Just so I don't turn anybody away. Is basically, I need the car count, and I think this is the biggest step in trying to rebuild in our area.
So if I've got the engine, sorry, just one quick question there before we get into how.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, Terry, the other big thing that came about here was, for the first time in a long time, you're going to allow drivers to build their own engines at home and have them sealed by the track. That's kind of the way things were many years ago. A lot of guys have been clamoring that, they've got older parts they can build, 600 horsepower cheaper than $30,000. Talk about the thought process behind that and how that's going to work for someone who wants to build their home package. What are the limitations, and what, are there any parts they should stay away from? How are you going to take care of all that?
Okay, so you must be referring to the open engine, small block open engine to run at big block weight. Is that the one that you're kind of referring to right now, Clint?
Yeah, the one you said where you're going to give the guys an option to build their own motor and compete in the modifieds.
I was trying to accommodate some of the guys that that want to piece together stuff in their garage. There are a few engines still kicking around with cast iron ported heads on it, so this will enable them to come out and compete. And trust me, I don't want that to be the go-to engine and people get the idea that this is the way to go. It's strictly put in there for an option. If the stuff is laying around, I think we should utilize it, but you're still going to have to overcome the weight that you have to carry in order to run that combination. So if you want to come out and boot around, that's the go-to. I strictly put in there that it's only 23-degree heads. So this eliminates anybody with a brainwave that they can build an LS-based engine and bring it out, because that has a 10-degree head. We're strictly talking about small block Chevys. If you think that you need to run a 377 or a 383 and you can get it to work with a 650 CFM carburetor and a 23-degree head, then come on out.
You just spoke a language, Terry, that it might as well have been Greek to me, but it sounded really impressive. What I want to know, how has the response been? I mean, you must have an initial feel from the drivers. Are they excited to see this?
I haven't heard much negativity, but that's usually not the way it goes. But reaching out and putting out the feelers to some of the key people that are in the sport, again, the car count is dwindling, so something needs to be done. We need to have cars in order to make a race for the fans, and this way is, I don't know. I'm hoping that there are a few big blocks kicking around that can run at big block weight. And trust me, this is not my idea. I kind of stole the idea from Bridgeport, and I do engine work for Ryan Godown, and he has won with a big block at Bridgeport. a spec small block on gas, and a spec small block on alcohol, all within the same year. So do we have parity? I think we do. So they have 5 different engine combinations with different weights, and it seems to be working there. So I thought, with the older big blocks that we have kicking around and some guys that want to piece together some stuff, I don't think it's a bad idea.
Terry, what are your thoughts on, you have some of the best racers around. Let's talk Matt Williamson, for example, close at hand, has a big block. Is he at an advantage because he can come out and run his big block against all these guys? I tend to think no matter what you put Matt in, he's got his program together. He's going to be there. But what do you tell guys who say, oh, the big blocks are just going to whip everybody's ass?
Well, it's funny you say that, Clint, is because Matt tugged his big block down and competed at Humberstone, and Mike Bowman ended up winning that night with a spec small block. So again, the big block is, yes, it's got more power. The balance of the race car and a small, tight track and track conditions all play into that. So it's not all about power. It's about being able to manage it, and you need 35 good laps, not 21. So I think that, you still have to be able to control it. I still ultimately think our spec small block package is the way to go, hands down. But I introduced the option for the big blocks simply because of other tracks had success doing it. I don't think it's going to hurt anything. I really don't. It's going to add to our field, make for better racing. And at this point, something has to be done. So I'm hoping that I get the proper support and people come out and race. And if somebody is dominant, then we can address amending the weights or whatever as we go along. But trust me, I want fair competition. I want good quality racing. And I want all the drivers to be happy more than anything.
That's a tall order, Terry. Where can people go? You threw out a lot of numbers and stats, and where can people go to see it and take it in and understand better what the program is going to be?
Well, the press releases are on the Humberstone page, my own personal Facebook page, and I just seen it was shared to Race Pro Weekly, and I guess the next step would be to branch it out as far as we can get it on social media.
Terry, obviously the elephant in the room is Sable Speedway. I know you've had meetings with Don in the early days of your ownership here. Some of the viewers here are asking what's going to happen with Sable. Have you spoken to them about this package? Do you expect them to be receptive to working together with you and allowing this? Or is this something that you're going to be on your own?
Well, I hope Don shares my vision in this. And I give this a lot of careful thought and consideration. But if a racer like Shane Pierce has a big block in his shop, it's not like he was going to be able to bring it to Maryville anyways. So I'm trying to tailor to the cars that are in garages that are absolutely hurting our car count. And with the BRP Tour being hard to get across the border, and you can't do that anymore, I thought that it would support it. So at the end of the day, it's not like we have fantastic car count at Maryville. And if it's all, I don't see the harm in it. Nobody is going out on a limb building anything crazy. And I don't know. I hope that Don has a good look at the rules. He's got to make a decision on whether he's going to be dirt legal and if he wants to go down that path. But at the end of the day, the racers that have engines that are not under the dirt spec umbrella, they weren't going to Maryville regardless. So now they have a place to either put a car together and utilize that and race one night a week. It's better than nothing, right? Like just trying to help the sport along. It's not about getting into a rivalry with Maryville. But anyways, we just can't, I hope that we have parity and I hope we get support for the whole thing, right?
Well, obviously your intentions seem to be right because you're an engine builder encouraging other people to bring engines to your place. I mean, you could have very easily locked it down if it wasn't for the good of the sport. So that's one way to look at it. Terry, the other thing is the repair program you've been working on. So, the other thing is you boldly stepped out and said where these W16 motors that dirt's allowed to be competing, they had to be sent back if there's any type of problem to the States. And in the first initial talk, those are the key points that I took from our conversation when we met. And one thing you said was you're going to start allowing them to be repaired here at home, and that's something that dirt doesn't allow. So talk about that for 602 Thunderstock, we're working with the ODCC to, come up with a proper repair program that you can
Yep.
work with. 604 late models, same thing. Those 602, 604s, if they broke, they were almost throwaway based on the rules. So now you're going to allow them to
Correct.
be repaired. W16s are also going to be repaired. Anything you want to get out about that to touch upon the engine repair package and the program that you're
Yep.
trying to put together?
Well, yes, after careful consideration with all of this, I wanted to allow the 602 and the 604s to be repaired and new rings put in them. So I don't want to go down the road of enhancing the 602 and making it better. So then racers will see an advantage of buying a new one and tearing it down and honing it and changing the rings and so on and so on. I don't want to turn it into an Ingram or what they've been doing with the 604s, but I'm talking about head gasket related issues, an engine that's got 8, 9 seasons on it or 7 seasons that's whipped. They can prep the cylinders, put new rings in it, and restore the performance of the engine. It's not for, I don't think the sportsmen and the street stock racers that are running in the top 5, but some of our guys that are on an extreme budget, it allows them to buy older engines, go through them, get them checked, get them sealed. I want them all legal, okay? And one thing I want to stress, I'm not soliciting any work. I'm not doing this because I want engine work in my shop. Actually, I want to kind of slow it down a little bit and concentrate my efforts at the racetrack. But yeah, it's not for me to be on the take and changing rules to fill my shop up full of 602 and W16 rebuilds. It's not what my anticipation is. Does that answer some questions?
I think you did, Terry. And all I want to close with is there anything else you'd like to put out there to the racers and fans that you haven't yet?
I was also entertaining if we do get a situation where we don't have a full field of modifieds. I was thinking about allowing as an option some of our maybe 5 filler sportsman cars that can come out and compete, and maybe allow, like, I was just can't help but take notice on how well Adam Leslie ran in our 358 race at Humberstone. Like, he finished second in the heat, and it took to 1 to go before a 358 got by him. So I'm entertaining that right now. If we have 14 or 15 cars and we need 5 more to make a good race, and we have a sportsman guy that wants to pay double entry to come in and compete with the 358s and not have a weight rule, so they won't go across the scales, but they have to be a dirt legal 602. That's the other thing I'm kind of entertaining right now and in my mind, on how we can fill the field up and make for a nice race. And yeah,
Terry,
that's about it. Go ahead.
Well, we appreciate you being on the show. I know you got schedule coming together. We'll be working on that, and we'll get a scheduled show release here in the next couple weeks to talk about everything that's going on. Thanks for your time, Terry. We appreciate it. And if you got anything else to get out, we'll love to hear it from you.
Okay, thanks, guys. Have a great night.
Thanks, Terry. Happy New Year.
So that's Terry Vance, owner of Humberstone Speedway, and also runs an engine shop there. Some good questions. I saw someone say, is this a case of an engine builder getting more business his way? Right as he answered that. So thankfully, Terry answered those questions. Some interesting concepts, Adam. I know you and I have a lot of different views on the way things go many times from week to week and situation to situation. But, we've never been shy for someone to take a wild shot at anything. So we wish Terry the best, obviously, if he can get some of those cars out of the barn and get them together. And, of course, we want to wish everybody in Niagara the best of thoughts to hopefully get everybody working on the same page down there so things can get strong once again. Because, let's face it, the more they fight, the stronger sprint cars are going to get. That's all I have to say.
Well, who could have ever seen a time when asphalt racing in Ontario was more coordinated than dirt racing?
In some
we're
aspects.
Almost seeing.
And I mean, we're talking
almost. Remember, sprint cars at Oshweekon is still relatively new, and I love what's going on with the crate sprints and them branching out. But there's not dissension in the ranks. There's just people trying different things. Where on the asphalt side, people are trying to come together to create better things like a common late model rule, a common super stock rule. So I'm not saying dirt is falling apart. I'm not saying it's all good, but you're seeing more coordination in some cases in the pavement world than you are right now in the dirt world. And I think it's just a bit of a growing pain while people feel each other out, but it's intriguing to me.
You know, as much as you've got a bit of, let's call it, difference of opinion on how the modified should have been or will be governed this year, for the most part, we all still sit on the calls. The 5 dirt tracks have been on calls. We work with Brockville. So if you extend that to 6, those dirt tracks, we've been working really good with them. I think you're absolutely right, though, Adam. Asphalt has definitely caught up with the the desire to work together. You and I sat in on the APC meetings where 5 of the tracks sat together. We all had lunch, had 6 hours of discussions. I think Asphalt's definitely heading the right direction as well. But the biggest thing I take from all this is, we're moving in the right direction. Things are positively going on, even with this terrible COVID virus that's got us all handcuffed. No matter what side of the belief system you're on, it's put us all in the same situation as race fans, that things are in jeopardy again. But on the positive side, also, we're all putting out our A-list schedule, which is a standard schedule, and then we'll be ready to pivot away from that if the events dictate that. But I think we're getting close on many fronts to being back to where we need to be. And if this virus gets lifted anytime in the next year and a half or so, racing is going to be in a great position, at least here in Ontario for sure. Wow, we flew through that show. We've got about 4 minutes left, Adam. So let's just buzz through a couple things quickly.
Well, because we don't have Blacktop Rivals tonight, there is no race at 9:00. I'm sure we can go over by a few minutes because I want to give these comments or these segments the time they deserve, Clinton. So we might have to work a few minutes of overtime tonight.
Well, timeout. So because you don't have to race tonight, we can go longer. Mm-hmm. But every other week, we had to be done right by 9:00.
If you're going to show our first on-air battle, I'm not going to run off. I want to savor the moment, and I'm sure it's horrifying. I haven't listened to it, but I know the video you're talking about, and I haven't heard it, Clinton. Truthfully, I haven't. I know it was posted online. I think you posted it on Facebook or someone tagged us in it, and I never watched it with the volume on, but I remember it fairly well.
It's funny because we both talked about how much we cringe hearing ourselves from the past. This is going to be painful. So let's buzz off a couple of quick topics, and then we'll get back to the 2 lengthy topics we got discussed, which is our new iRacing short track series that we've been in development with some key partners, where that's going to pivot to. And then, of course, our first on-air battle where we fought for the first time on the microphone at Ushweekend many years ago over a slide job, gone wrong or proper, depending on which side of the fence you're on. So first off, Port City Raceway. Shane Stewart, former winner of the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals at Ushweekend Speedway, has taken over as a partner and will be running Port City Raceway. So we want to wish the best to Shane Stewart. We have reached out to him, and hopefully we can get him on. That's a press release. It's in Tulsa, Oklahoma, near his hometown. And, his heart's been in the place for a long time and says he's going to take over and be the promoter there. So we'll be working on getting Canadian Sprint Car Nationals multi-time champion Shane Stewart on the program, as he's the new proprietor of Port City Raceway in Tulsa, Oklahoma. The other thing we want to mention out was something you sent over. Gage Martinez is a real guy. And for those of you following Weber Valley, it's interesting to see that Gage Martinez is a real dude. And he was out signing autographs. Show it, Spencer. Adam, take it away.
He was at the Waffle House signing shirts and posing for pictures. Clint, this is brilliant. The Weber Valley Speedway folks, Gage Martinez, I love what they're doing. And not because I love stupid, corny humor, but I do. But the things that they're doing with social media demonstrate how to effectively use social media. And it's just intriguing. And I can't stop looking at the guy. I mean, it's phenomenal. It's just, yeah.
Now, for those who don't know, it's a fictional speedway that they've created all these characters around. They're actually going to have to construct a Weber Valley Speedway for real with real rocks in the track and everything. and Gage Martinez out there as the defending champion. I think it's amazing what they've done, Adam, and you're right, to have a bit of fun with it. They've almost created mock mascots and gone for it. And yeah, it's neat to see. So that's pretty cool. Before we jump into our first battle, let's talk about the iRacing short track series, Adam. It was brought to us. I'll let you tell the story so I don't mess.
So, starting 2 weeks from now on the 19th, every Tuesday night, immediately following Rivalz Race Chat, you're going to see super late model short track racing on iRacing. So we had been in talks. Grisdale Racing Products wanted to get involved and run a series, run some races. Clint, we've wanted to be involved, similar to what APC did last year in the spring, because I thought the races were great, the broadcasts were great, and people knew the names. They could enjoy the racing. So we got together. We hadn't really figured things out, and there's still not a name for this series. But we're going to be running super late models. The drivers, you do not have to be an APC late model driver to register. You only have to be affiliated with racing in Ontario, whether that be as a driver in a different series, a crew person, anybody who is relevant to the race, because we want to race with our racing family. So we're going to open registration. So if you're interested in competing, go to the Grisdale Racing Products Facebook page and send a message. Say, I'd like to register for the iRacing Super Late Model Series. It'll be fixed setup Super Late Models. 150 lap races thereabout, and it's going to be names that you're mostly familiar with. And if you're not familiar with the names, you should be familiar with some of the paint schemes and skins that you're going to be seeing out there. But what really brought it home, Clint, in the last 2 days, talking with Matt Lockwood from Grisdale, we're saying, what can we do? How can we make this really cool? We want to stream it on GeForce. So obviously, Clinton, you and I came up and said, look, let's give you what we feel is the best time slot on GeForce TV, which would be right after our Tuesday night show. There's a bit of a cost involved. No problem. Grisdale's, they want to be involved. London Recreational Racing is going to be involved. Caldecott Millwright Services are going to be involved. But the coolest thing Grisdale's did was they brought forth the first prizes, and they are putting up a set of American Racer APC late model race tires. So there's a set of tires up for grabs in this series. We don't know how we're going to give the set of tires away. We don't know. It might even be individual tires that we give away because they have great value. But we're going to give away racing prizes in an iRacing series, and I think that'll really help bring in the drivers that we want to showcase every Tuesday night. How'd I do?
Excellent. Yeah, you're absolutely right. We've got a great host of partners who want to get involved. The prizes continue to grow, and we'll have a full list of them as we get ready to open up the series in a couple of weeks' time. So hopefully that takes off. Adam, I'm excited about it. Some of the clips I saw of the short track racing, I mean, the rival stuff's been great, but to get on the short tracks, I think the racing's going to be trickier, but the action is going to be a little bit faster paced and exciting to watch. So get ready for your
we've got fix. Yeah, some of the drivers you can expect: Trayton Lapsevich, DJ Kennington, Larry Jackson, Cole Powell, Ray Morneau, the great Connor Ross. I only said that because he was waving in front of me. But it should be some fantastic names. Dale Shaw, he's got some prior commitments, but he's going to come out and compete with us. And the list will go on and on. I think we'll have some really big car counts.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it come together, and it's going to be a great time. So hopefully everybody gets on there and participates. I'll stick out there till I get disqualified, which takes all of about 3 wrecks and I'm out. But we'll have fun with it anyways. Let's jump into our final deal, Adam. This was probably 20 years ago, if I had to guess, and we were talking about it maybe a month ago on the show. And then Steve Shaw, the Southern Ontario Motor Speedway Thunder multi-time champion, sent it to me the minute we got off the air, and I thought, wow, this is funny. So let's set the scene. This year, I think the Ontario Dirt Late Model Series was racing at Weekend. It was Brad Authier, and I'm not sure, if I had to guess, probably one of the Haskells or somebody, but I know it was the 1A of Authier. And, It was a slide job that we disagreed upon, and that kind of spurred up the dual airbags. And from there on, we fought about many topics over the last 20 years. So anything you want to say before we set up our Burger Barn video of the week?
No, I don't think so. Let's have at it.
So Andrew Rayom continues to lead in the number 88. In behind him, Brad Althier in the 1A. Darren Kish in the 7. Getting set to go here. 11 laps to finish this one. Althier had a good jump on Rayom that time. Takes it to the bottom of 1. He slides up in front of Rayom, the leader. Oh! What a slide jump. Rayom recovers and Althier spins it out.
That is the perfect defense to a slide jump, Clinton. He drove his back end so far in, got him up in the air. What an amazing turn of events. Now look at Rayom. How can he see out the front of that car?
I don't know. That's a tough call. Who's in the wrong there? Althier throws it in with reckless abandon. Rayom is not, he's not held down to lift, and he says, you want to do it, buddy.
Well, what's your take? I was going to answer your question, who's in the wrong, because someone is wrong here.
To me, I don't know. I don't know how to call that one. Well, back and Chris just come over and said, I bet that. We haven't changed in 20 plus years. That's crazy.
No, we really haven't. And my point was, that was a perfect slide job. Rayom had nothing but options. Go inside, go further outside. But he had to see that Althier was going to wind up parked on his radiator. Like, Althier called his shot, made his shot, and Rayom made his choice. He's like, okay, I'm going to teach you a lesson, and drove right up under his car and turned him. But I thought that was a textbook slide job.
See, we'd have to watch it over and over again, but we see it in sprint cars all the time where it's not as textbook as you think. They got together. So who was in the wrong? Did Haskell see it coming and needed to lift, or did Althier take his front end out? Those are good questions that we'll go back and watch a few more times when we get off the air. But I thought it was funny that the video still circulate around. We still have the same type of arguments and many nights on racing. I'm like, I need to see that again to call that one.
Yep, for sure. And Spencer, were we going to put up the comment that you had shared in the chat? Well, while we're talking about announcers, we're kind of on the topic. I would be okay with it, Clint. I'd have no problem with there being a camera up in the tower so people can see the dynamic between Greg Callan and I. But I am concerned it would ruin some of the mystery, because I think if you saw us, you would realize there's not that much bitterness to be shared between us, but I think it sounds like there is, and it's good for our shtick.
Well, we've had multiple cameras. I think over the past 4 seasons, we've tried 2 different types of cameras up there. The problem is really the logistics of the room, where you guys have a very short desk and the window is right there in front of you. So there's nowhere to put the camera farther enough out in front to get a decent shot. Either one of you are going to look huge from the side. Spencer says he's got a plan. So we'll see how that goes. We tried multiple angles because, the other one I'm dying to get a camera on even more is Doug Leonard. I think it'd be great to have Doug Leonard come in. And one of the things I've been brainstorming for our Weekend Live broadcasts and even the other stuff we get on the road with Doug would be to have him wear it up almost like an NFL referee. And when he's got to make a call, we go to Doug Leonard. He switches on his microphone. He gives us the call right into the camera. I think that'd be awesome. And one thing we'd certainly like to try and implement. Doug is game for it if we can get it technically together. That's one thing I've been doing for many years. When we get into a sticky call or something that maybe the fans don't understand how that call was made, Adam, I'll get on the radio and I'll cue it up with the radio with Doug, and I'll say, hey, I just talking to my microphone, and Doug hears it come over the official. I'm like, hey, let's hear from Doug Leonard what happened. And he knows that's his cue to key up his radio, and I just put my microphone on the earphone, and he explains the situation from the official side. And I think that's a great, piece of entertainment we can bring in. That's just one of the things we look to do. We also talked about a camera on our flagman because, Kyle McKenzie, these guys, they're some of the best in the business out there. Cammy too, we can get him up there as a big part of the show. So we're definitely looking to keep those things going.
And two more questions that I want us to answer, Clinton, because Wayne Dempster, he's been great, very active in the chat. Aiden Maynard, Gary Calling, Don Martin, Julie. There's people who, and I really appreciate the fact that they comment throughout the night and keep their ideas going. But what races, past or present, are Adam and Clinton's favorite tracks or races? And did you guys like covering races at the Moody Mile?
For me, it's all right there. I mean, I would have to say I've been fortunate enough to get out on the Super Dirt Series and announce some cool places. Like I got to do Eldora, which as an announcer is pretty cool. Got to be there when Stewie won his dirt race, which was cool as a Canadian race fan. But I think it all comes down to Moody Mile. For us being able to call a sportsman race there back in the day, for myself to be able to do TV there, it's the best racing was ever at the mile. They'll say the competition wasn't that great, but when you look at the sheer amount of races they had for 40 years there was some humdinger of events that went on there. And, at every racetrack, they're not always great. But for me, it's all about the mile. What about you, Adam? I think we might have lost Adam. Anyways, we had a great time there. I know Adam's done a lot of stuff over the years too. Not sure what his favorite would have been. Is there any other questions we're missing? Not sure. But want to thank everybody, as Adam said, for getting everybody out here with us. We really appreciate you hanging out with us on Tuesday nights. It's great to be back here. We're going to have a lot more great stories coming down. Send us messages. Let us know who you want to see, and we'll do our best to get them on the show. Some of the guys we have talked about with the upcoming events, with the Chili Bowl, we've reached out to Christopher Bell, Rico Abreu, Stuart Friesen. Those are some of the top names we've got that we've been working on. And Adam, we need to hear what your favorite was. I said working TV at the mile, doing the sportsman race with you. All the racing there was awesome. It would have to be Syracuse for me, but what was one of your best races or something you'll always remember?
I loved the thought of our voices carrying through the New York State Fairgrounds. Was I a fan of announcing there? That was a really hard place to announce at. It was hard to see. The cars go right under you on the front stretch or too far away on the back stretch, but the experience was fantastic. I had a lot of fun at some of the big events we did at Cayuga Speedway. I mean, obviously, I love all the stuff we did at Ushweekend, but the Canada Day shootout, some of the big races we did after that when Brad Lichty and Gary Evans owned Cayuga, that was just a time when we were really able to be creative and do our own thing and every Friday at Ushweekend, you know what I mean?
You brought that up. The Canada Day shootout at Cayuga, when it was Cayuga, was pretty badass. That is still to this day the biggest Canadian stock car event in the history of our country. 25,000 plus people were there. You and I were young announcers. We got asked to work pit road with, Tony Stewart and Johnny Benson and Schrader and all these guys they brought in. And we had more access to them than anybody that day. And one of my favorite stories there was, Tina and Glenn Stiers were there, and they were sitting up there with my wife, Christine, and Tina elbowed her and said, "How cool is it? Our boys are there." And that was cool to have someone like Tina say that about us, that they were proud that we had made it to the show after cutting our teeth at Ushweekend, which was awesome. Back to the mile, one story I always tell when we get drinking with the boys and announcing at the mile comes up was our dollar bill initiation. So I'll tell the story and you can fill any of the gaps if I screw it up. But we were there to announce the sportsman at the mile. So we had the qualifying heats one day, and the race was the next day. So we went up for the first day. We did our deal. And I remember as we're leaving, the veteran announcers, it would have been Joe Murata and Shane Andrews and Doug Elkins at the time. They said, hey, bring back a bunch of single ones tomorrow, like you're going to the strip club. And we're like, what? And like, just trust us. Bring back $21 bills each, and we'll have a good time. So when we came back to race the next day, the gondola kind of hung right over the crowd at the New York State Fairgrounds. And it was long, almost like a bunch of portables together suspended from the ceiling. Well, we found out what the dollar bills were. So they were crumpling up single dollar bills, and you lean way out the window and you drop it down, and you go over a couple windows and you drop another dollar bill. Well, the whole crowd sees money falling from the sky, and they don't know where it is. And everybody's looking up, seeing dollars drop. And for $40, we had 30 minutes of the best belly laughs I've ever had at a racetrack in my life. as everybody's trying to wonder why is it raining money here under the grandstands.
And we were being broken in. It was friendly hazing, but you're normally not in a situation in the work that we do, Clinton, for there to be a big fraternity, for there to be a big entourage of announcers that all kind of take their turn. So it was an honor to be a part of that and to be in the same room with those guys and get to work the same event. But yeah, it's been a wild ride. It's been so much fun, and the ups and downs. There really haven't been that many downs. It's just different levels of ups over the years and the fun that we've had.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. We appreciate the broadcast ideas. We're not afraid to try anything new. Spencer already came to me with some crazy robotic camera idea yesterday. I couldn't even make sense of it, but I said, just put together an estimate. We'll make it work. But we appreciate everybody hanging out with us. I think it's time to go cheer on our countrymen as Team Canada gets it done in the World Juniors tonight. I got to send a shout out to my Bills, AFC East champions, after being in the gutter forever.
Let's go Buffalo.
Yeah, for sure. Bills make me want to shout. Everybody have a great week. We'll see you around. Don't forget, Adam's Mindwell session kicks off every Thursday at 7 on Facebook. You can find a lot of the other great programming going on weekly here on G-Force. Thanks, Spencer, for everything you do. Thank you to our supporters, sponsors. Thank you for Terry Vince for joining us. And thank you, viewers, for being with us. We'll see you again next Tuesday on Rivalz Race Chat. Say goodnight, Adam.
Good night, Adam.